Hello guys, I'm Dave and welcome to the Weird Kid Show. Today I'm going to do another prop tutorial for you. This time I'm going to make a cyborg spider skull thingamajigger creature, okay? It's something I had envisioned in my head and I've been excited and been wanting to do this for a while, so I'm going to share this with you. The base of this project is this rigid foam skull that was sent to myself and Vic Springston, the other member of the Trio of Terror, which I am a member of, from Keith from Cobwebs and Candlesticks. And so I think I'm going to use this as the base for the mechanical spider. So the legs are going to be mechanical. It's going to have an optic eye. And so let's get into it, man. I'm excited. Are you excited? I hope so. Let's go do this. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to use for the legs is this. It's called drop down ceiling wire, and it's sold in Home Depot in bundles. This whole bundle cost me about, I want to say 17 bucks, and there's a lot of it here. There's a ton for this project and many more. The wire bends quite easily, but it's sturdy enough so you could use it for all kinds of stuff like armatures, and in this case we're going to use it for the base of the mechanical legs. Okay, we're going to go inside and I'm going to cut this stuff and we're going to go through together how you can make each leg using this stuff, and let's get into it, guys. So let's head back in. What I did was I took a piece of that wire. Actually, I took a couple of them. I think I ended up using 2.5 pieces of that wire because a spider has 8 legs, correct? So we want to make 8 mechanical legs. Alright, so I cut 9 of these, and I'll tell you why I cut 9 of these, okay? And I measured these out and I figured out that for me 16 inches was about a good size. Okay, why did I cut 9? Because what I needed to do first was to plan out the structure of the legs. So this piece here is what's going to go, we're going to drill a hole in the skull and insert this inside. Okay, so this piece doesn't count. This is going to be inside the skull. So the first portion of the leg is here, second portion of the leg is here, and then the last of it here. So we'll need to do 8 of these. And so what I did was I took this after I got the desired shape, was I took a piece of heavy stock cardboard, okay, and I traced it onto the cardboard. Okay, this is gonna serve as our stencil. Alright, and then I went ahead and measured to give you, this isn't precise, but it's roughly the end of the leg's about 4 inches, 5 inches, 5.5, and then this part doesn't matter. It could be a little more, it could be a little less, as long as you got enough to drill a hole, insert it inside the skull to glue it, to hold it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do using this stencil is I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to go ahead and draw out the mechanical legs. Okay, and then I'm going to cut that out, and that's what I'm going to use for my actual pattern for each leg. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what I come up with. Okay guys, so I took a ruler and a Sharpie and I went ahead and then just drew out each quote-unquote robotic mechanical section of the spider legs, okay, using the pattern that I'd already had in place. Like I said, that's why we want to lay the wire down. We want to have spaces here We want to leave spaces here because we're going to put something in there to give it like a mechanical ball joint looking feature. But basically all we want right now is we want these 3 patterns here. Alright, and I just shaded them in. You can adjust it, you know, you can make it the way you want. It's just a loose guide, okay? So I'm going to head and cut these out, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Okay guys, so like I said, I cut out the pattern for the mechanical legs, 3 of them. Alright, then I took some EVA foam. Now you can find EVA foam pretty much anywhere. I'm pretty sure I've even seen it at Walmart. It can be used as like aerobics mat, or you put it in a toddler's playroom so that if they fall down they don't get hurt. But they also use this stuff for garages or shop mats. I've seen it at Harbor Freight. I've seen it at Five Below. So check around. It's pretty cheap and you can do so much with this stuff. So I put my pattern down, traced it out, and cut it out 8 times for each section. Okay, which gave me these. Okay, now this is the part where you're going to want to be careful. You want to take your time and go slow. I had initially tried to heat up the rod with a torch and then push it through so that the metal rod had actually melted its way through. That could get tricky, and you could also get hurt because if it pokes out through the side, which is very plausible, you could end up burning yourself. So what I ended up doing was taking a drill, preferably a long bit. I don't have one, so this is what I ended up doing. Look and figure out where the center is, and slowly drill a hole on both sides. Okay, so now that we've got our holes drilled, I've already got a couple here that I've already pre-drilled. Okay, remember our template rod. This is what we used to decide the shape of our leg. Okay, we wanted to keep this. We used this to trace on the paper and to design our leg sections, but it's also going to come in handy because now we're going to start assembling this leg. So I took one of those pieces of wire that I measured out at 16 inches. This is the most important measure right here. Alright, so this is the part that's going to go into the skull. Okay, so I just lined this up a little bit. Alright, and I took like a pair of channel locks, pliers. Alright, I found that bend. Okay, and then I just go ahead and just give it a little bit of a bend. Alright, nothing spectacular. We're not going to worry so much about positioning at this point. We just want to get the general shape. Once the whole thing is assembled, then we can tweak and position, because a spider's leg's not all 4 or all 8 legs are on the ground. They have different positioning. So we're gonna like put this thing in a static position when we're done. We just want to get this thing going, get it in the position to start assembling this thing. So the first thing that I did is I picked me up some of these here at Walmart. You can probably find them at Joann's Fabrics, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, anywhere they sell crafts. These are wooden beads, okay, and they come different sizes and different varieties. Okay, I used a big one like this. Now this is gonna go here. All right, and this is gonna start off. Whoa, it just flung right off there. That's okay. This is just a dry fit anyways. Okay, so this is the point that's going into the skull. We want to create the illusion of a ball socket. That's how this thing's moving. Okay, so there is the first ball socket. Okay, then I'm going to take my first piece, all right, and I'm going to push it on there. Okay, so get it through. Okay, so that's what we got so far. All right, now out of the same pack of beads, they have these smaller ones. Okay, and then I want to put that on there like that, clean up the debris a little bit. So now there's your ball joint. All right, and then I'm going to take my second piece and slide it on there. Okay, all right, so that's what we got so far, but that's not the position we want. I'm going to go ahead and bend it. All right, I want to make sure this is up. Okay, and just bend it down. All right, so now there's our first position. You can even bend it more to line up these edges a little bit better. Okay, so now that's the second position. Now I'm going to take another one of those beads and put it on there. Okay, and then I'm going to add, I'll put that aside, I'm going to add the final piece. All right, so that's going to go right on there. And it went through, it's okay. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend that. All right, so there we got our leg. Okay, now I went ahead and I've already made a few of these things. Okay, this is the last one. This is the first one I did. Okay, this is actually how you're going to see it when it's on the skull. All right, there's the point that goes into the skull, and there is the actual mechanical spider leg. All right, so what I did was, once I got it dry fit and I was comfortable with the positioning, then I went ahead and I took hot glue and I put some on the leg itself and then pushed it onto the bead and just went ahead and then just hot glued so that now it's static and it's in position. All right, so there is one of my completed legs, and we're gonna go ahead and paint this all black once I get all the rest of the legs done. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep working, and I'm gonna get the rest of these legs done. Now there's always the chance that when you're drilling through, it's gonna pocket, it's gonna you know, buckle, the bit's gonna pop out. Okay, you can take craft foam and then cover it afterwards, or just cut you some extra pieces, and like that's one of the reasons why you need to take your time to drill through this. Okay, so we need 8 of these. All right, so we're gonna check back once I get all 8 done. All right guys, so the legs are done, and they take a while. Okay, I'm letting you know right now. See, the beauty part of me doing this tutorial for you is that I'm going to be the one that makes the mistakes. Okay, and I can tell you what not to do. All right, and one of the things that I did and didn't realize is, you can see on one side it's like a corrugated, and on this side it's smooth. Okay, so what I needed to do and didn't do right away was to flip the pattern. Okay, so what would have happened was, if I had continued with what I had cut out this way, I would have ended up with a smooth surface on one side, and then on the other side I would have had this corrugated. So don't forget to flip your pattern before you trace and cut out the other side. The other thing that I noticed is, when you drill through, yes, you can come out and pop out. All right, like I said, if you want, you can cover it with some foam after, or me, I just went and cut out a new one and was more careful next time. But it's not impossible. Okay, we've got eight of these bad boys ready to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put those aside now, because now we're going to work on the skull. We're not ready to put these legs on yet. I want to do the skull first, and then we're going to put the legs on. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, I want to put in an optic type of eyeball, or you know, an optic eye. Okay, and I want to put it here, and I get this little cap. Maybe you can use a soda cap and then cut out the round part, but I'm going to use some craft foam and cut out a pattern. Okay, I'm not going to make a pattern, I'm just going to freehand it, come up with something here, because what I'm going to do, and this needs to happen first, is I need to drill in here with a paddle bit, and then I'm going to drill here in and then this way a bit to create a cavity inside the skull from here to the eye. And then what I'm going to do, and it's not ideal, you know, it's when Halloween's over, you don't get the cool dollar store lights anymore. If you're lucky, you can find stuff like this. Okay, that's just like a bunch of leaves. It's like a summer theme. I guess you can go and hang them in a tree or something, but what's cool is that it's battery operated, okay, and it's green. And they had some other colors too. As it stands, this is not cool, but we're not going to see this. All we're going to use is the light source from this. So that's the purpose of me cutting the hole here, drilling this way, drilling that way, creating a cavity, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stuff all these bulbs and everything else and pack this whole thing. And then this is going to be covered. We're going to put the battery pack, and we're going to put some other like cyborgy type of stuff, and then we're going to put this optic eye here. We're going to create a lens. Okay, so you get the point, you get the picture now. It's going to be a luminescent green light. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to drill this out, get it all ready, then I'm going to come back and we're going to see about stuffing them lights in there. We're going to move on from there, so hang on, come on. This is getting fun now. I hope you guys try this. Alright, so now is where I'm starting to have some fun. Okay, so what I did was I took the paddle bit, and if you don't know, this is a paddle bit, and I drilled straight in, and then I drilled straight in this way, and then just kind of cleaned out here, and then took a razor knife and scraped this away. Alright, now these leaves, summer season lighting is irrelevant now. All it is a light source, okay? And I got this extra wire. I'm going to tuck this in, and we're going to attach this somewhere, which is going to become part of the cyborg look. What's it look like? Like that. Okay. I took this cap, and like I said, you can use just about any kind of cap, and I spray painted it black, and that's going to go there. Okay, what I'm going to do to hide and cover all of this is I'm going to take craft foam, and I'm going to lay it on there. I'm going to slowly glue it and cut it as I go along to get an organic shape and follow the contours and glue it as I go along. Okay, so that all that's going to be sticking out is just enough wire, and then we're going to mount this on top. And then to finish it off, I've got somewhere here upholstery tacks. There they are, upholstery tacks. That's going to be like the rivets, or the, you know, like, yeah, the rivets that are using to attach the metal plate. And then we're going to go ahead and paint it, and I might start adding some little things, like I've got this hose here. Okay, I'm going to incorporate that into the optic. And the other thing too I really need to point out is for the lens on the cap, I'm going to use this flimsy clear plastic. This was in an old poster frame. You know, the poster frames you buy at Walmart? They don't use real glass, they use this like flimsy plastic. But you can use just about anything that you can find around a house. Maybe you bought a package of batteries that's got the clear plastic. All you need enough is to cut that fits on the flange on the inside of a cap. Preferably inside, so you're hiding the seams. So if you're using a soda cap or something, I don't know what you're going to build, leave a lip. Don't completely cut around the circle. Leave a little lip around there so that you have something to glue to the, you know, the rim inside. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start covering this thing with the craft foam, and I'm gonna attach the eye piece, the glass, if you will, and I'm even going to cloud it, make it milky, so that you can't really you know that there's something in here as a green light source, but you can't really focus on or differentiate what exactly is in there. Okay, and then I'm gonna add some bells and whistles and stuff like that, and then we're gonna paint it, but one step at a time. I'm gonna work on this for a bit, and I'm gonna come back and I'll show you what the progress is and explain to you what I did. So hang tight. Okay guys, so this is what I've come up with. Okay, this is just craft foam. I showed you that. It comes in sheets. You can buy it at Walmart. Super cheap, and it flexes. You can work with it and bend it around corners and stuff like that. All right, but this is just to get the initial wiring and bulbs in place, and put the metal plate on, and then I made this little optic eye. I cut some of that clear plastic and glued it on top, and then painted the edge around it so that it looks like it's, you know, it's mounted from the inside. And then I super glued. I like super glue. And this rigid foam, you'd think it would melt, but it doesn't. Okay, so here we go. There we go. It's a green Cyborg optic eye. Okay, and then as you can see, like inside I used like a gray wash. Okay, just to create like a fog, so that you can't really look in there and go, oh yeah, I can see what's going on in there. You really can't make out what's in there. So we're not done with this. I'm gonna trick this skull out. I mean, I got this hose, you know, and I got like parts and pieces. I don't know if you guys collect junk like I do, but if I find like unusual pieces from something broken or on the side of the road or just junk, I collect it, because you just never know when it'll come in handy when you're creating. So I have like a box of just random junk of different shapes and sizes, and you know, we can incorporate it into this to create, you know, to trick it out, if you will, and make it more interesting. Okay, so I can't quite tell you yet what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit here and contemplate and play with some ideas, but we're gonna come back. I'm gonna show you what I end up doing, and then I'll explain to you how I did it. All right, so hang tight. All right, so what I did was I took some of this like flexible hose. You could probably use just about anything. You could use fish tank hose. If you can't find something corrugated like this, use fish tank hose. Just use your imagination. Look in those junk drawers. Look around in your garage. Just look at stuff and see it beyond what it is. You know, this now is like some kind of a primary power cable for the optic eye or something like that, and who knows, you know, use your imagination. But anyways, I cut this hose at an angle to make it look like it's disappearing inside the skull. Okay, and then I put hot glue inside of it, and then super glue around it, held it good, glued it up for a good ways to take the tension off. And then I came around and I found this fitting that I had. Not quite even sure what it is. There again, it's junk. I just collect junk and use it. I drilled a hole and recessed it in there, and it had a big enough hole where I could glue the hose in there. Okay, so, or cable. All right, now, and then I went ahead and I put these upholstery tacks around it. Okay, so this is what we're looking like, guys. All right, so now what I'm going to do, everything you see here is going to be painted black. The rest of it, I'm going to paint it like a natural skull. Okay, so it's going to be true organic meets mechanical, you know. There was a lot of other things that I was kicking around. I was thinking about putting an eyeball in it at one point in time. You know, I had made this pink eyeball. I even thought about corpsing everything that wasn't biomechanical. But I don't know. Something about just being a skull. You know, sometimes less is more. And I want to just go ahead with that. That's not to say that after I make this tutorial that I'm not going to go ahead and do more to it. That's the thing. you don't need to say, okay, that's done and that's it, and walk away from it. You can always revisit and revamp or add or whatever. You know, that's the beauty part. It's your creation. So we're going to go ahead and paint this. Okay, and then when we come back, I'm going to be ready to start putting these mechanical spider legs on this thing, and then finally get this thing together and see what it looks like. That's the fun part. Alright, so next time you see this, it's going to be painted. We'll see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so I painted the whole skull. Okay, and I painted all of the components and stuff like that. So what I do is I love burnt umber. It's something that I've always used, and it makes for a great base, you know, or as an earth tone. This is made by Apple Barrel, but burnt umber, you can get them in all the acrylics. So I paint the entire skull burnt umber, and then I use Territorial Beige, another Apple Barrel product, and I dry brush that over the skull. And once that's dry, I take Vintage White. This is a folk art product, and I mix it with the Territorial Beige to make a lighter beige, and dry brush it again. And then the last coat, the last dusting, is with just the Vintage White. So you've got 4 colors to come up with this scheme. Okay, and then as far for the teeth, I used Territorial Beige, mixed a little tiny bit of burnt umber, painted it, and then went just strict Territorial Beige, dry brushed that, and then used the Vintage White to do a dusting. But in this last portion, I used it's called Moon Yellow, and I mixed just a little bit in there with the white to just give it a little bit of a yellowish tinge. Okay, now as far as the optics and the primary cable, the primary power cable here and stuff like that, if anyone knows me, like the stuff that I make that's mechanical or whatever, I love rust, I love decay. To me it's scary, you know. Like when everything's, you know, shiny and new is one thing, but when it's all decrepit and weathered and stuff like that, I don't know, to me it invokes more hostility or just decay, you know. This here was, I used this is called Pueblo, okay, and it's a folk art multi-surface acrylic. And so I take that and I dry brush the whole thing with it, and then once that's dry, I go ahead and I take sterling silver and then dry brush everything after that. But that's not before I paint everything that needs to be black first. That's going to be my primer, and it's going to blend in good when you put the rust, if you will, and the silver. Okay, and so I'm happy with that. I like that. I like how it looks. There is so much more we could do to this. I don't want this video to take forever. I want to get you guys going just on this basic. You can do whatever you want once you get going. There's our optic. Okay, so he is painted. He is ready to go. So he is ready for his legs. Okay, now all I'm going to do in this case here is I'm going to position them, drill 4 holes, and I'm going to insert them in, glue them in. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and then dry brush the legs with the rusty metal look. Okay, and so the next time you see this, guys, it's going to be done. You're going to see the final product, and I hope you like it, and I hope you try it. You guys can do this. You can use any kind of skull you want, dollar store skull, Bucky skull, cheap plastic skull. It doesn't matter. You could even use like a foam filled mask. You know, you could go that route too. There's so much you could do with this. Okay, so we'll see you in a second. Alright guys, so there we have it, the finished product. Okay, so I drilled all the holes, 4 holes on each side, starting in the back of the cranium, and then of course, as you can see, 2 on the corner of the jaw, and then I just kind of spaced the rest out in between. But before I popped them on there, I dry brushed them and rusted them up a little bit, and then dry brushed some silver just to show that it's like a metallic object. Fun. I had fun doing this, and you can use anything. You know, you could do this with a skull or a foam-filled head, or invent something. You know, that's the whole purpose of this stuff, is to create stuff and inspire others. And I hope you guys try something like this yourself. Please, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe, and hit the bell. It's going to inform you when I upload another video, and there is so much more to come. And I just want to say to my subscribers now, thank you. I appreciate every single one of you, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. No one would be watching, and you guys keep me going and build me up, so I appreciate you. If you haven't done so, go check out my brothers in arms, Keith from Cobwebs and Candlesticks, and Vic Springston from Graveyard Creepers. Together we make up the trio of terror, my brothers, and they're always building stuff, and we're always working and inspiring each other to continue building. So until next time guys, peace.